one of the things that I found just observing the whole landscape was that some of these people were having way more success than others. And I started researching, like, why is this person having way more success than this person? We're live, Sales Ascender. What's happening today? Sean here, back at you with another high ticket tune-up. And boy, am I glad it is Tuesday. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and your week has started off just phenomenally well. And today we have an awesome question. The question came in from Jess, and Jess asks this. She says, Sean, how can I monetize my Facebook group? I just want to start off by sharing, one of the things that I've noticed in the landscape of sales over the past probably 5 to 8 years is a shift, a cataclysmic shift. See, back in the old days when I was just selling commodities or, for my electronics company, or even the roofing jobs that I've had in the past where I used to sell commercial grade roofing equipment, it was very, very less complicated in the sense of just going out and showing some expertise to somebody and then closing a deal. It didn't change until we really entered the online space. And when we entered the online space, what we found is, and maybe you can agree with me on this one, is there was lots of these people that just popped up and all of a sudden they became coaches and consultants and experts in the field when maybe they hadn't have actually had the real life world experience and gotten the results for themselves. Not saying it's good or bad or indifferent, because everybody starts at one place or another, and you need to start saying what you are doing and where you're going. But in the meantime, one of the things that I found just observing the whole landscape was that some of these people were having way more success than others. And I started researching, like, why is this person having way more success than this person? And the secret came down to tribe. And tribe, what I mean by that is like actually building a community around yourself to rally around the same mission. And so when I noticed that concept, I immediately thought to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how do you congregate all the people where they're going to hang out so you can actually go and close more deals? So I started researching and I fell into Russell Brunson's world, and I was part of a couple of these other little communities. And what I found was they all pushed people into a place where they could all congregate together, kind of like church, right? Like if you want to go find, say, for example, the LDS Mormon church, like if you want to find a lot of Mormons and the LDS folk, you're going to go to the church because guess what? That's where they all congregate. So the same thing applies in sales, but when you make it personal to you, you need to be able to create that space or the infrastructure where the entire congregation could come and hang out. To answer this question, I think just understanding the basics of why me, why you, and what's the result you're going to get somebody, right? And so it's got to be that why you part is this part that's really, really valuable. And so how you do that is you start to build a tribe around yourself and you keep rallying the troops, like the leader of the tribe. And so Facebook groups is the face to do that. How do you monetize them? I'm going to share 3 ways with you right now. So let's talk about 3 ways to monetize Facebook groups. This is really valuable. Let me just actually remove the question. And by the way, if you're getting some value from this, just smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But here we go. Let's move forward. Way number 1 is simply to invite people to a call. Now, interesting enough, people have a tendency to say yes when you invite them to speak with you, especially if you've invited them into a group of yours. And so however you're doing that, typically the direct messaging approach is usually the best way. This means, hey, listen, I'm allowing you to be in my group because I think we have some similar values, right? And what I focus on is speaking with every single member of my group so that I can make sure and facilitate a group that's meaningful. I jump on a call with every single person. I would love to jump on a call with you and learn a little bit more about your business. And from there, you can start to build a relationship. So a lot of people say, ooh, this is an easiest one. And yes, you do have to speak with the people that you're congregating. Why are you building a business if you don't want to connect with those people? Should be a bigger reason than just trying to make some cash. So when you invite to a call, then we get them on a call and literally we have the conversation about, well, what do you do? Here's what I do. That's awesome. Do you struggle with this problem? I can solve that problem. And then you go down the path of doing that. And that's the sales conversation. Of course, that's what we teach in depth. But I just want to share, inviting a call is the first way to monetize a Facebook group. It's very easy. So once you've invited somebody into your Facebook group, maybe wait a day, send them a quick note saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Wait another day, and then send another message out to them saying, hey, I'd love to jump on a call because we speak with all of our members. And there you can start the conversation and then move your way into eventually closing a deal. The second way is something called member highlights. So member highlights, here's how this one works. We have, as you know, if you've been in our Sales Ascenders Inner Circle community for some time, every Wednesday, Chris actually puts on something called our member spotlight. And the member spotlight has a couple of pieces I'm going to share with you today that are very valuable for you. Number one, when you find somebody in your group that has that spark and that can talk about that one thing that they're truly an expert about, and it's probably going to be a different area than what you sell and what your products are. And typically I look for people that are complementary to what we do. So when we do this, I'll be looking for someone who's like an expert in copywriting, or maybe they're a mindset master, or maybe they're a focus coach, or maybe they're some other type of consultant or sales pro that has done something really powerful in their world, and they can just riff about it forever and ever and ever. When you find that person and you know that they'd be a good fit for your services, then you say, hey, listen, I've got this group. I would love to interview you live for about 30 minutes. Do you have some time available on this next Wednesday or next Thursday? And when you say a message like that, people are like, oh my gosh, it's exposure for me. So it's a win for the person that's going to be doing the speaking. It's exposure for good value for content for your group. So that's number two. That's going to be a benefit to all the entire people in your community. And that's why when you go and you start a group, get the right people in that actually have specialties in areas that everybody needs. And that's valuable. And then the third win is this: they must be a good candidate for your product or service. If you're not doing that, you're wasting an opportunity. And so when you invite somebody to speak on stage on a live, yes, you have to interview them. It's very simple to interview people if you've never done it before. There's usually about 3 or 4 questions that you can ask. And it starts with, hey, how'd you get to where you get to? Tell me your backstory. That's the first one. That will lead into a great conversation. And you say, why did you choose to specialize or focus on this thing? How are you impacting your clients? And how do people get in touch with you? That could be a 15, 20-minute interview just with those 4 questions that I just shared with you. And literally at the end of that interview, you say, hey, where can people follow you to learn more about you? And then that person also, not only do they get to show off their true power, but they also get a call to action. And so people that are interested in that topic can then come and follow them, which is a very, very valuable thing. And then lastly, the cool part is you've got this thing called the green room. Now, depending on the software that you use, whether it be Zoom or whether it be StreamYard, I use StreamYard. If you're in this one, you're watching a StreamYard right now. And at the end of the interview, just tell your person that you're speaking with, like, hang tight, there's a few other things I want to share with you. And then you go off the air. And as soon as you go off the air, then you have an opportunity to get into a sales conversation there as well. You've already interviewed them. You got the warm fuzzies with their people, and you're now speaking with them about possibly saying, hey, well, are you struggling with this other thing? I know you're a super genius at what you just shared. I'm so grateful for the value you dropped. Let me just ask you a quick question. Do you struggle with this? Are you frustrated with this? Are you concerned with this? How is this part of your business doing? Is it standing up or falling down? And whatever that piece is that you solve, that problem that you solve for them, get into that hard conversation. And at the end of this interview, you can either do one of 2 things. You can close a deal if you feel that you have the chops to do that. And if you don't, then you very simply say, listen, I know we just finished the interview. I love it, but let's just set up a time so we can actually talk about solving this problem because I'm pretty confident that I can solve it for you. And so literally then you set up another time, you have another touch point with that person, and you can move forward. So this is another place, the second place where you can actually monetize your Facebook group. And let's move on to the third one. This one's different. Not many people use this one, but there's an area inside of a Facebook group where you can actually house a series of videos, or you can house a little micro course, or you can build a 1 or 2 or 3 step game plan for somebody to get into your group to actually follow and accomplish the thing. So in our world, it might be something like, hey, get started with building your Facebook group. And then it's like, here's the first 3 steps that you got to go do to build your Facebook group. And then once they've done that, at the end of that video, that end of that third little micro course video, you say, hey, listen, if you want to go deeper on this and this is not enough, set up a call with me here, click my link, or you can drive them into watching a webinar that actually sells your services or something like that. I've actually spoken with hundreds and hundreds of people now, almost thousands of people, about what they like and dislike about Facebook groups. And here's some of the insight that I've received. So the first thing they don't like to see is just the owner or the admin of the Facebook group just spouting off their own agenda. The second thing they don't like to see is like the pitch fest. So when you get into a group, if somebody reaches out to you like, hey, buy my stuff, nobody likes that. It doesn't feel good. It hurts. And so this units or this learning course, little micro course in the unit section is a great place if you're the admin to be able to share a little bit of that without going overboard. And it still creates the community aspect and the flow in a good sense. And then the other stuff that they like is they like when other people interact or engage. And so one of the ways to engage people is to get them to drop comments, likes, and shares. A little hack or a little secret tip that we use on this one, when we have a new member that comes in, we'll actually go to that post and we'll drop the welcome of that new person as a comment on the most recent post that appeared on our Facebook group. That person's going to see it, likely come back and drop another comment saying thank you. And as soon as you get to the 2 comment mark, what happens is the algorithm in Facebook picks up and it's going to start showing all those posts that you're dropping in your group to everybody that's in your group. So it puts you at the top of mind. And so that's another little super hack that I wanted to share with you there. But these are the 3 ways that we use to monetize Facebook groups. I know they work really well. We've closed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and if not millions of dollars just from these 3 strategies alone. So again, let me go back through them. Number 1 is just simply invite somebody to a call, get into a sales conversation. Very simple to do. Number 2 is have some sort of a platform where you interview your members on your stage. And then the last one is use those units, learning and micro course thing to get people started into a little taste of what your value is that you give, and then invite them either to a call or invite them to a webinar, invite them someplace where they can consume more of your content and get to love you and know you even more. And when you do those things, I can assure you that you are going to grow your business. You're also going to grow your tribe. And if your movement's truly there and it stands for something like ours is to end world thirst, man, it's going to go a lot faster than you think. So I hope this one helped for you. Again, smash that like button, share this to someone that could use it. And I am looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.